Greetings and welcome to the Leap Lifestyle Podcast. I'm your host, Christopher White, and this podcast is brought to you by the People's Community Development Corporation. This great organization allows me to share these ideas and thoughts with you all in the community. And on today's show, we have an amazing guest from our community. His name is Joe Horan, and he does amazing things in our community. He works with the youth, primarily Black and brown youth in our community. And before I start going too far, I'm going to give him the opportunity to allow him to introduce himself. So, Joe, say hello to the people, and I'd like to welcome.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm excited to be here and to share a little bit of what we do in the Syracuse City School District with the Building Men program, and trying to help our boys become the best version of themselves.
Right, Joe. Thank you for that. And I guess the first question that I like to kind of start off with is, how's your day today?
Oh, geez, it was an amazing day. Already this morning, I got a chance to talk to a lot of our teachers and administrators at the Said Talk event with our district. So I was able to share a little bit about what we do in Building Men and just trying to make sure we have a clean heart so we can love our children better.
Right. No, I thank you for that. And that is an amazing start to a day, being able to help some people out. So I guess with that first question, Joe, I'd like to ask you to share with us a little bit the how you began to talk and want to work with young men and how that all start.
Yeah, so I was at the time I was at a phys ed teacher at Levy Middle School,
Okay.
and I have been there for a while, and I've been teaching phys ed, rising up the coaching ranks, where I was coaching some girls varsity soccer and girls varsity softball, and then in my personal life, my marriage just it failed, right, and for a multitude of different reasons, but the big thing that came out of it was questioning what is a man,
Right.
right, and I was uh, I was taken back because I felt like I kind of failed, and so then my sister gave me this book about Joe Ehrman, who was a famous football player, and he was talking about the myths that young boys fall under, right, and that a lot of us boys think whoever is the best athlete is the best man,
Right.
right? Whoever is the fastest, the strongest, the biggest,
Yeah.
everybody looks up to him and says, man, I wish I could be like him. And then the second lie is, you got to have a lot of women. You got to be really good with the ladies, and the third lie is you got to have money, right?
Right.
And here I am at, 40 years old, 0 for 3. I'm a phys ed teacher, I ain't making no money,
Right.
and I didn't make it in no pro ranks, right?
Right.
And my wife, and I just, man, it just messed up. And so I was feeling like, wow, if someone doesn't teach these kids, they may fall in the same trap. And I'm looking for this in this gym, about 30 boys. And I'm like, this is what I need to do. I need to teach them that there's more to life than, being an athlete and chasing women and chasing money and, and what started this journey on, what's really a man all about. And so, you know, I just started right there with the boys. I quit coaching varsity girls sports. I picked up coaching modified sports, and so I was working with the boys, in school, out of school, and then created this Building Men program from that.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds amazing. And yeah, I think those struggles that you speak about, right? Like uh I think there's a lot of wisdom in what you just shared, that you had the ability at that age, 40, right? Like the wherewithal to say, hey, like I think I want to do something different. So, and along that same line, so okay, so now you're saying, okay, I want to do something different. So now you're getting the boys, or you're working with these guys, and you said in middle school, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, so now you're working with these guys in middle school. How do the early days of this, like, how does that look? Like, what are some of the things that are happening? And are people drawn to it initially? Are you having some pushback? Like, how's the organization developing for you early on?
Well, see, I inherited this intramural basketball program. There was the teachers that invented it, and then they gave it to me because they went to do different things and moved to different schools. And so I used sports and basketball as a hook to draw the boys in.
Right, right,
And I started taking some of the cues from what Joe Ehrman did. I started listening to some of my staff that at Levy Middle School had some great ideas, and I had a whole bunch of people that were put in my life. I believe God put it in my life to kind of structure this program, and so we brought in guest speakers to talk to the boys. We brought them on some field trips. We did some community service. We started going on some college visits. We even created our own rite of passage for a middle school boy to prepare them for ninth grade, and everything we do, right? Whether it was a sports or a team building activity, or whether it was a character talk, all of it ended up with a conversation on manhood, on what we can learn about this journey on becoming a man. And we boil it down to someone with significance, do something for a greater cause,
Right.
right? Live for somebody else, do something for the community, your family, and then the other part is integrity, right? To
Mm.
be honest with our innermost self.
Right.
And R is relationships, somebody that honors and values and builds relationships. So we came up with the acronym SIR:
Mm.
significance, integrity, and relationships. And so it's around those three core values that we speak to our boys about, and helping them define what is their journey and what is their vision of masculinity all about.
Yeah, thank you for that, and that's amazing work. Because as you were speaking, I was thinking about like my own life. I'm here from Syracuse, born and raised. My whole life I've been here primarily. When I was fairly young, I wasn't here, but I thought about like some of my early life challenges and how a program like this probably could have helped me a lot. So I guess my next question is, now when guys usually when young boys are introduced to your program, is there sometimes some resistance? Is there sometimes like, because I mean obviously, right, like um they're coming from a place where they're saying, don't trust people, and especially people that don't look like you, right? Like, and then they say, all of these kind of messages that we get. So I'm wondering, like, what are some of those challenges like for you?
A lot of our program is based in the after school programs, right? And so we get kids that want to show up. We get kids that are brought in by their friends,
Right,
people that want to do the activities and they want to play the sports,
right,
and so guys they either embrace it, or they kind of like maybe they're not ready for it. So we have a
right,
lot of kids like in sixth, seventh grade that don't join, but by the time they're eighth grade, they've seen what some of the older kids have done. They've seen what people go through. They made a connection,
right,
and then they join up. Our big thing is about relationships, right? And letting them get to know who I am and getting to know who they are, and that's the whole bulk of what we try to do. And usually the people that there's a little resistance, it's just not ready for them yet, and
right,
so they can join the next year. Some people kind of quit, and then they come back. I mean, they're always welcome.
right.
We don't kick anybody out, and we just take people that come in. And we're trying to get a little bit more in different schools and in different parts of the community as well as we grow.
Right, right. Now, so what are some of the challenges about for you guys, and far as getting into other schools and spreading this program? Because from what I've read and the things that I've seen, I haven't talked to anyone personally that's been through the program, but from like the community reports I got, everybody like loves this program. Like they love the work that you're doing. So, like, what's the resistance with getting into some of the or issues rather getting it spread somewhat?
The biggest thing is getting staff, right?
Mm,
Getting men that want to work, in an after-school program with the kids. Getting the teachers that want to work with us after school and during the summer, and that's our biggest challenge. Our next biggest challenge is that I need help
right,
training people, need help, developing the program, need help doing more trips, because I,
right,
I firmly believe I am where I am today because of the exposure and youth programs that I went through. I went
right,
through Vision House on the west side, and they brought us places. We did a lot of different field trips, and I realized that life was a little bigger than Skiddy Park, where I grew up on the west side, right?
right,
And I need to do the same thing, as get these boys out to college visits and different companies, looking at different jobs and different exposures, because I don't know what hidden talent God has placed in their heart that we can just
right,
boom, once they get into that right setting, we light a spark, and all of a sudden the kid is now like, hey, I want to do this, I want to do this. And so the first biggest challenge is getting the staff, and then is getting the opportunities, and getting the boys to those places where they can get that exposure and they can get that spark lit.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. Exposure is life changing, and I think you're right on with that because I had the opportunity to work with a fairly small program before they had a decent budget, and I think that out of everything that we did, those college trips, they
Mm.
for some reason, I don't know what it was. Like we did a lot of other things, but like you said, those college trips, I think when the kids get there and they have like that realization that this is within their grasp, like I don't know, like you said, the light goes off and then they're like all in. So yeah, exposure is extremely important, and I appreciate that you guys, that you particularly are seeing that, like that's the key, because like you said, once you begin to understand, I think we begin to understand that the world is bigger than just, you know, our side of town. We strive for more. We strive for more. So thank you for that, Joe. I guess now the next question that I would like to ask is so exactly, so how do kids become, is it specific school they have to be going to right now to become involved with the program, or like how does that portion work? How would a person, a young kid maybe in the neighborhood that wants to get with your program, how would you do that?
Right. At this moment, right now, we're in the middle schools and some of the high schools, and we're starting to go into the elementary schools. And so we were in 9 different middle schools last year as part of the after school program, and
Okay.
1 elementary school, and we had 3 high schools going. Right now is my time to recruit staff and to figure out what schools we'll be in, and then be able to the kid will be able to join if their parent signs them up in the after school program, which is great. That the partnership with the Syracuse City School District is like that we can continue to do that programming in their schools, right as part of the after school program. And without that, we wouldn't be able to grow.
Right.
We try to do some stuff out in the community, but we're still looking to try to get our partnerships in line, some staff that wanted to do that. So currently, we're really within the Syracuse City School District.
Okay. So I guess now I can kind of jump into the other part of what I would like to ask you is like what kind of keeps you going, right? Like, because I know this kind of work is it's not for everyone, you know, being able to, you know, kind of like maneuver and manage people and personalities. Like, what is it that kind of keeps Joe going, keeps Joe waking up in the morning?
Man, this is what I believe God gave me to do. So, this has been on my heart for a while. From bringing my son up through, and having him raise up and become a man, and learning through his journey.
Yeah.
And now I got staff that were once sixth graders in the Building Men
Wow.
program, and now I had two young men in college who are interning with me this summer, that were sixth graders in the program. There's guys that all over the community now that are thriving because of their experiences in school, and we were part of it. We're part of the village, right?
Right.
And we don't do it all, but we're part of that village that young man needed at that time in his life to help him grow. And this it's just my dream, man. I thought I was going to be a big time coach one day, but realize, what I like to do is I like to brag about the boys of Syracuse. I like to
Yeah.
brag about all these great kids in Syracuse that people don't know about.
Right.
And I see so much potential and so much talent. And we had an amazing summer program. These kids did great, man. They came all day. They came in the morning. They did their ELA and math, and they played sports. They did fitness. We had some great speakers. We took them on some trips, just to watch those kids, and be able to give back what I was given to these young men, and hopefully along the way, instill them with, some significance and the importance of integrity, importance of relationships, and the importance of, being true to themselves. That's a big deal to me.
No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I guess the other question I wanted to ask you is how, I mean, I could imagine how it feels like, right? Like now you said you got the two guys working for you, right? And they started in sixth grade. Like to watch that, like how does that feel for you? Like how do you, like, you know, you sixth grade, he's just a little kid running around, snot nose, whatever, right? Like, and now they're men, right? Like, and like how does that feel for you?
That that just makes me sit back and like it's worth it,
Yeah.
right? All the trials and the stumbling blocks, and the writing the grants and writing the reports, and doing the stuff I do, it's worth it. What I do matters, and I need to let these kids know that they matter,
Right.
that they're important. And then, I'm looking for that next person who'll take my job. you
Right.
know, that
Yeah.
next man kid's going to come up and take my job. That's a pretty exciting thing to think about.
Yeah, I think that is. That is an amazing goal to have. And like I said, I don't know, right? Like that process, right? I think that everything that you've said, right? Like instilling certain values, having that integrity, and then because sometimes those messages are counter to the messages that we encounter in the world, right? So like I know that it's not super easy for a young guy coming up and that rite of passage, if you will, 13, 14, 15, 16, those years were challenging for me. So like I don't know, like I said, when I read about your program and heard about it, and now to get a chance to speak with you, especially about that acronym, sir, it's just amazing. So I guess my next question is, um, so if people want to volunteer and get involved with this program, we would go online, right? I'm going to pull up real quick if I can get it up here. This here is your site, right? This is your site building. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it, Joe?
No, I can't see
You
it.
can't see it. Okay, well, I've just pulled up your site here, and I'll come back to us. So if anybody wanted to volunteer, they could link into the site. Is there a number that they could call on the site?
Yeah, right on the buildingmenprogram.org website, there is a contact us, and there's a little spot where they can email and drop some contact information, and then I can get back to them and see how they want to get involved, see how they want to help out.
Okay, is there anything specific that you're looking for as far as volunteers? Like, I'm not sure, so I'm just asking. Like, would you like obviously men, women, both? I'm not sure how it goes.
Well, at this point, I'm ready to kick out an email to some people to look for. We're starting up a leadership team, a prayer team, a fundraising team, and a breakfast committee team right now. We're looking for volunteers that want to join. Every September we kind of, send out an email and say, hey, who wants to help out this year? Who wants to get involved?
Well, definitely send me an email, Joe. I would greatly appreciate that, and I'd love the opportunity to come in and help out where I can. But I don't want to wrap it up just yet. I wanted to ask you a couple more questions.
Let's go.
So for I guess so for you guys right now, like what would you say your biggest challenge is right now?
That's a great that's a great question. So I'm gonna answer it in two parts.
Okay.
The biggest challenge in working with our boys is the getting them to feel safe enough to come back, right? I
Mm,
think COVID, the amount of boys that were coming to our events and part of our program before COVID has greatly reduced because of COVID. I think mentally the shift in COVID really impacted our young people,
mm,
right? They don't feel as safe. They feel more vulnerable being out. They missed a couple of years of social interacting
right.
and getting along with people. And last year, in the schools and everything, it showed that our kids kind of, we fell far behind. You
Right.
know, not just in Syracuse, but everywhere. I mean, it
Everywhere.
was everywhere. And so far as our kids is that the biggest challenge. I want to get them back out. I want to get them feeling safe. I want them to be in more community. I want them to do the field trips. I want them to get more engaged and have our boys feel like, okay, we can make this. We can make through this. We can make up this. I don't know if we can make up this time, but we can feel safe again and come out in community and work together. And part as for organization is just people. You
Right.
know, I'm at a point where you know, I've kind of put the lid on it. But I know God doesn't have a lid on it. But I need
Right.
help. I need help to go to that next level,
Level.
right? And we need people to want to be partners and work together. There's some great organizations that I'm building partnerships with and collaborating with in our community. Over the summer, we're doing some, and last year we started doing some, and I'm trying to seek more partnerships and collaborations because I just can't do the work by myself, and
So
we all could do better work if we do it together.
yeah, thank you for that, Joe. Definitely. Yeah, those sound like some similar challenges. I think, a few different organizations probably have that similar challenge. And it's just finding, like you said, finding a way to kind of get people to re-engage. Because like you said, I think, just like you said, COVID changed life for everyone.
Hmm.
Good, bad, or indifferent, it changed the world for all of us. So yeah, I could see how that could be a challenge, getting people to want to be back around in close proximity with others. And this will be my last question. Um, so if we had a perfect world, how what would be different for you about your program if we had a perfect world?
Yo, that's cool. So perfect world, number one, I'd have a building with a gym
Mm,
and staff to be able to run programs not only in the Syracuse City School District, right? Not only in the after school program, but we could work with our some younger folks that are out of school, right?
right.
And employment stuff during the day. We could run a safe place where people can hang out after school and in the evening because there's not a lot of places where boys can go and feel safe. I'd have a van or two to be able to take people around and expose them to different opportunities. And I'd have a camp,
Yeah.
or at least a place where we can go to camp a
Can't.
couple weeks out of the year and just
Yeah.
bring them just out of the city into a different environment and be able to expose them to some more different opportunities.
Yeah. That sounds about right, Joe. Thank you for taking the time to come and share more about your organization and what you guys are doing in the community. And I want to thank you for the work that you guys are doing, because there's not a lot of people out there, that are doing what you guys are doing, that show that they care and they're actually doing the work. If there's any people that you would like to maybe mention, or any last words that you would like to share on today's show.
Oh man, there's tons of people that help me out and work. I mean, we have a great partnership with, Vera House. We're
Mhm.
starting to do work with the Syracuse Peacekeepers and the Good Life Youth Foundation, and there's other opportunities in 100 Black Men of Syracuse that do great work. So there's a
Right.
lot of places that are doing some really good work with our young men that have helped us, and we continue to work with along the way, and especially our district. Sometimes they take a hard rap, but they've opened their doors and helped me continue to impact the young men that I can, and the staff at the Syracuse City School District. Man, they're amazing people that are willing to help out these boys. So I could go longer, but I know we got to put a cap on this at some point.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'd like to say thank you to those same people too, because I came up through the Syracuse City School District myself, a product of Nottingham. So yeah, but thank you, Joe. I appreciate you, and thank you for spending some time the last 20 minutes with me and sharing so much about your organization. Like I said, I'll be in touch with you, and thank you. You have an amazing day, Joe.
All right, you too. Thank you so much.
All right, Joe. Peace.
All right.